Okay, everybody, we're back for another episode of Wrestle-Talk. We had fun with Brandon on the last show, but back once and for all is my co-host Drew, and we've got a lot to talk about, including a Raw, SmackDown, an ECW, and a pay-per-view. Isn't that funny? It seemed like we just had a pay-per-view a few weeks ago. You know, either 2008 is really flying in, or we're having a pay-per-view every 3 weeks. In fact, the next one is in November, Survivor Series, I believe, unless they've added another one in between that. But anyway, might as well talk about Raw. What did you think of Raw this week, Drew?
It was pretty boring.
Okay. And
yeah, that's very much all I gotta say about it. Not much happened.
I understand you fell asleep again during it?
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about that. All of us get put to sleep by Raw once and every now and again. But I want to talk about Bound for Glory because I just found out what this big surprise Jeff Jarrett was talking about on some video on YouTube. And you know, I had no interest at all in the TNA product. In fact, our good buddy MBG1211 or Matt was there at Bound for Glory, I believe. And the big surprise was Kevin Nash running to help Sting win the world title. And TNA say they're the future. Why don't we look at some of the people who they have at the front of the promotion? Sting, 50 years old, world champion. Kevin Nash can barely move. Come on, Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett. What is going on? The TNA need to get their act together, and according to this, I don't know what the TV show was, but I read on ProWrestling.net, TNA have the number 17 dumbest fans. I don't know who came at number 1, but lucky number 17 for TNA, which is my lucky number. Very strangely keeps popping up in my life. But you know, I have a few rants down here on Michael Cole. I'll just read out some of these quick. Pointless stories. Do you agree with that, Drew?
Yeah, pretty much.
Michael Cole tells all these pointless stories, like during the Kelly and Candice tag team match with Katie Lee and Jillian Hall, singing one of my favorite songs of all time. Didn't sound all. I didn't even recognize the song until she actually started singing the chorus.
Use the word sing very loosely.
Well, anyway, he tells loads of pointless stories, loads of very, points out the most obvious things. He has all these ludicrous expressions, and he always has to have the last word on Raw. But anyway, Kelly is improving in my eyes, better than Candice. I have a lot of stuff in there. Candice is just, I don't find anything good about Candice. I don't think she's attractive at all. She looks like she's Botox to the max, to the point where she can't move her face. She has more poison in her face than a rattlesnake does in its entire body. And speaking of rattlesnakes, I think our favorite Drew's highlight of the evening, as always, was Charlie Haas coming down with his great impressions, and Haas is spot on with these. And I know you were in hysterics, is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
The Stone Cold Steve Austin 316 did not open up a can of whoop ass on JBL, but still, it's great to see Haas, and I'm glad that they're keeping up this gimmick because it's very entertaining. I think it's come to a very sad point where Drew's favourite moment of the evening is Charlie Haas, and my favourite moment of the evening is Santino Marella. Comedy rules the roost in the world of professional wrestling, at least on Raw right now. Okay, and I remember during the telecast where King was explaining how you could vote for things. He said he was stuck with Orton at the moment. I obviously know that he was talking about, the still picture. That reminds me of an old episode of Wrestle-Talk where I kept putting up the pictures and we'd have to talk about that for a limited amount of time. But anyway, about the Batista promo, He mispronounces basic words. What does anybody say in this guy? He made the cheapest, most pathetic joke you've ever heard about Chris Jericho's hair, which received no pop whatsoever. You can hear a pin drop. Alright, we might as well get on with our predictions with the over 4 minutes we have remaining. Okay, let's get started. We'll work our way from the bottom. Okay, the supposed tag team match. You get to vote for the tag team match you want to see, and this just so desperately tells you that they need some new tag teams. Okay, Drew, which match do you think we're going to see? Regal and Layla versus Mickie James and Jamie Noble? Miz Morrison versus Crime Time? Or Priceless versus Punk and Kofi?
Probably end up seeing Crime Time versus Miz Morrison.
Well, that's the only one that's actually... Well, I take that back. They've all had build-up, but Miz and Morrison's the only one that had good build-up. Because Miz and Morrison are great, and Crime Time are okay. Priceless, very good. This Regal and Layla thing, what's the point in even having this? They're just going to job Mr. Regal out in 10 seconds to Dave Bautista. And you know, that gauntlet match was so painful to watch. It took about 20, 30, 40 seconds for Regal to get his feet in that match, and that was almost as boring as the actual match. And you know there's something wrong there. Okay. Well, who do you think will win, Miz and Morrison versus Crime Time?
Miz and Morrison. Even though Crime Time should win.
Well, I think Miz and Morrison should win. But I think the match we're going to end up seeing is Priceless versus Punk and Kofi Kingston. And I think Punk and Kofi will probably win that match. Shelton versus R-Truth, MVP, and or Festus. Who's getting picked for this?
I didn't even hear about this because I can't watch SmackDown, but probably R-Truth.
Well, R-Truth, I can't even understand a damn word out of his mouth when he does that little, you know, walk to the ring through the crowd. He's speaking complete gibberish. And I think Shelton is going to win the match no matter who it is, but I voted for MVP. Because WWE backed themselves into a corner by making this voting, you know, mobile, and they're obviously not getting a lot of votes, so they put their remaining polls on WWE.com because it's so obvious that they just want to, you know, turn around and say, okay, everybody vote online now. We're not getting any votes here. And I'd love to see what number they come up with whenever they're saying we got such and such votes for this. Okay. Okay, let's see what we have. Mysterio versus Kane. Falls count anywhere? No holds barred, or 2 out of 3 falls? Which match are we going to see, and who's winning?
Probably falls count anywhere. That's what I think. Probably...
Drew?
Yeah.
Who's winning this match?
Kane.
Oh, gee. Well, I think Mysterio's going to win no matter what happens. Okay, we better get a move on here. Santino versus Honky Tonk Man, Roddy Piper, or Goldust. I know Brenton wants to see Goldust, but the golden one is not going to be throwing a bone here. So it's basically between Piper and Honky. Who's winning?
I want it to be Goldust also. It's probably going to be Honky Tonk Man though.
I think Piper's going to win this one because most of the current audience don't even know who the hell the Honky Tonk Man is. They're very comfortable with Piper. He makes appearances now and again, right with a minute left, and I also think Santino's winning this no matter who wins the poll.
Yeah.
Even though I want to see Goldust as well. I think we all want to see the freak back on TV, but it's not going to happen on Cyber Sunday. Well, actually, it's probably going to be there for a backstage segment. Alright, with under a minute left, Show versus Taker, Last Man Standing, knockout match, or I Quit match?
Last Man Standing. Big Show wins no matter what the poll is.
Again? Well, I'm thinking, I am praying that this rivalry end. You don't have to sit through SmackDown because you don't have my network. But I am praying that Taker will win this Last Man Standing match. Triple H versus Hardy, Kozlov, or both? Come on, Hardy Drew.
It'll probably end up being both.
And Triple H is winning this match no matter what.
Yeah.
Batista, Jericho, who's going to be the ref?
Stone Cold.
Austin, and the winner, Jericho.
Yeah.
And we're almost out of time. We have 7 seconds remaining. This has been Wrestle-Talk with John Drew. We'll be back next week, everybody.